What? That's an old Woody Page joke, okay? From circa 2000 and whatever. JJ asking the Texans releasing what now for him, what now for Watson, what now with this panel? Let's go around the horn. What? See, I don't even think what he was doing. I know Chappelle's show, you know, still just. He wasn't. He was just doing his own riff.
I have sat down with the McNair family, and I have asked them for my release, and we have mutually agreed to part ways at this time.
J.J. Watt saying he wanted fans to hear it straight from his mouth. That he asked the Texans for release, that the Texans granted full release, and that he's a free agent now and available to anyone. Tim Kalishaw, first to you. What's your reaction?
Tony, I can hop right out here on I-45 and head that way to Houston, and I feel like all the traffic is coming against me because that's been DeAndre Hopkins and James Harden and George Springer, and it seems like the whole town is leaving. But J.J. Watt is in a class by himself. When you look at on the field, a first ballot Hall of Famer, what he did as a 3-4 defensive end, and then maybe more importantly, you look at J.J. Watt off the field during all of Houston's trying times, the money he raised, the hours he put in to the community. Even though people know, okay, this is a very different situation from Deshaun Watson. This is a player nearing the end of his career, and he's had a lot of injuries. This one has to really hurt for Houston fans as they watch this exodus continue.
Bill Plaschke, your first reaction.
I don't know what they're doing. It's like they're tearing the whole thing down. I don't understand it. J.J. Watt, for all of his injuries you talked about, Tim, he was still ranked 15th last season in pass rush win rate, which, again, I don't know what that means, but I like the stat. And he also, he's three Defensive Player of the Year awards that were tied for the most. The guy's this institution. This only tells me that they're getting ready to trade Deshaun Watson, too. They're going to try to build from the ground up. And it's a shaky
So this is proof to you that they're going to trade Deshaun Watson. We'll get to that in a second.
Well, they have to.
And also, I guess, we'll bring in Kevin Blackis on here. Some people are making comparison how they are treating J.J. Watt versus how they've treated Deshaun Watson. You can address that as well, KB.
Yeah, I don't really look at it like that. What I look at it as kind of like Bill's looking at it. It's a franchise in total disarray. Your greatest defensive player ever is asking out of this club. Your greatest offensive player ever, Deshaun Watson, wants nothing to do with you. One of your leading executives of all time, Jamie Root, said, "I'm done with this place." What is going on with the Houston Texans? That's the sign of the times to me.
Sarah Spain.
Yeah, this team is going to be unrecognizable. Hopkins, Clowney, Watt, eventually Watson, Roots, who you just said has been there 20-plus years, right? This team is completely being made over, and by all accounts, not for the better. Of course, Watson is still technically there, but once you get him out of there, I don't know what you're left with in terms of the pride of the franchise. Everybody who's saying anything good at all right now just got there and just got hired by the people that appear to be the problem, so they kind of have to say good things. Anybody who saw what it was like before the recent changes is getting out of town. And the fact that they didn't get anything in return for J.J. Watt, you can either spin it as they wanted him to be able to go out and pick his team, or you could spin it as them deciding that they needed to get rid of cap space and completely drop everything down and rebuild.
Tim Kalishaw, you want to add something?
Yeah, the only thing I would differ from my esteemed colleagues on is I don't think this means Watson is going. I think, as Sarah just said, it does give them cap room, and I think it gives them a chance to spend around Deshaun Watson. And if they keep him and add to him this offseason, obviously not with a first-round pick, but if they can do something, I think they can begin the salvage or the reclamation. There's no question. It's right now, it looks like the worst franchise in the
you
NFL.
can see a light at the end of the tunnel here, because I got three other panelists who just see darkness in a
it's on
chasm.
I-45.
Well, let me just poke at this a little bit more, Bill. The idea that Deshaun Watson says we got some serious issues in this organization. I want out of here. And then J.J. Watt says, I want out of here as well. And Watt immediately gets a release and is able to sign anywhere he wants. And Watson is still, hanging in the breeze here, Bill. Do you read anything into that?
Well, that's also a quarterback versus a defensive player, and the quarterback's more of a franchise player. But I think that Watson should look at this, and so should all Texan fans. J.J. Watt was making $17 million. He's not going to make that in his next contract. He's walking away from a chunk of 17. That's how bad he hates it there. And the fact that they won't move Watson now really reeks of, it's some sort of, I'm not sure what sort of bias they have or anything. It's about a quarterback, but it feels like it's about more than just a quarterback.
So what position is Deshaun Watson right now, Kevin Blackistone?
Well, he's in a tough situation because he's under contract, and he's really the only asset that they have. And it's not like he's J.J. Watt. Let's not forget, J.J. Watt's been banged up the last few years. He's missed a bunch of games. He hasn't been the J.J. Watt of old. But this is Deshaun Watson, a top quarterback in this league. Still, they've got to build around something.
Sarah Spain?
Yeah, it's tempting to compare the two, but I don't think it's anything beyond the fact that you have a superstar quarterback who hasn't maybe even peaked yet early in a major contract versus a guy with 1 year remaining who only has a couple years left, and they can clear some space for one versus losing one of the best players in the league for not enough with the other, which is why they're dragging their feet. There's nothing else to it in my opinion.
Any idea where Watt may land, Plaschke?
Well, you know what? If he wants to play next to Aaron Donald, he can come to the Rams. That'd be great.
Yeah.
They're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Why does that not surprise me? That's where you go, Kevin Blackistone?
Well, I mean, the Washington football team doesn't need any extra.
Oh, would you guys
help.
stop here? No, wait, come on, Kalisha.
I think he's going to Florida, but I don't know if it's to Tampa Bay to get a ring or to Miami to help a very good
And
defense.
Sarah Spade.
Yeah, I think I know that you think I'm going to say Chicago because his wife plays for the Red Stars. But I think he's going to go home to the Packers, and they're going to try to move some cap space around to make it
I
happen.
think I don't even know where you were going there, but now I land with Green Bay. I see what you're saying. We'll move on. Trevor Lawrence's pro day today. 17 NFL teams were there. And check this out. To me, this is sweet. I hear everybody say this is against nobody. Who cares if he can do this? To me, it's still pretty sweet. Sarah, what did you see in this pro day, and how necessary was it for Trevor Lawrence, who everyone expects is going number one to Jacksonville?
Well, he told reporter Jane Slater he just wanted to be like everybody else, wanted to go out and show he can adapt, show what he can do. And I respect that, wants to be able to go through the process even though it feels like we know where he's headed. There's tons of teams there, not because they think he's not going to be number one, but because there is such quarterback chaos right now that the number of teams that might be involved in maybe he gets sent to the Texans and the Jags want Deshaun Watson. Maybe there's a 3-team deal involving those names. So it's a lot less certain than a regular year. So it totally makes sense that he would do this and that teams would show up.
TC?
I pay a lot of attention to yardage on throws. Everybody thinks, everyone throws 60-yard passes all the time, when they really don't. But if you watch that play, that's 62 yards downfield, plus it's from the middle of the field out to the
Are you making fun of me here because I said it was a good play, or are you being serious here?
Oh, not at all. I'm being deadly serious.
Okay.
That's probably
He's making fun of you, Tony.
65-yard strike he throws, and obviously he thinks he's Mahomes in the Super Bowl because he's running around like crazy.
I think you're making fun of me. Here's the point. This is a pro day. We know he can throw all types of passes, and they say this is a broken play. Show us what you can do in a broken play. That's very valuable for when you go to a team with one win. All right, Tim. I think we're on the same page here. So you liked what you saw, and the idea 17 teams were there was all right.
Yes,
for you?
and I think he had to do this rather than say, I'm going to have surgery, I'm not going to throw. He could have gotten away with that. He's Trevor Lawrence.
Plaschke?
But I think it was nice of him to go out and do this.
No, Tim, he didn't have to do this. This was completely senseless. I don't know what he's doing. Except one reason. There's only one reason he's doing this is maybe he doesn't want to play in Jacksonville. Maybe he wants to try to entice other suitors to trade up for him. Maybe he wants to show his wares. Otherwise, why do it? He's 34-2 as a starter. Everyone's seen what he's done. You know he's been intercepted on 1% of his passes under pressure in college career. He's a great college quarterback. Everybody knows this. He didn't need to show it to anybody.
So you're reading into this. The fact that he had an open and 17 teams were there, an open pro day means that he doesn't, of course, conspiratorial. And Kevin Blackistone, how about you?
Yeah, I do think that Tim was mocking you. How, you mock me? But at any rate, I do not understand pro days. I never do for a player like Trevor Lawrence. We've seen the videotape. We've seen him in games perform. What point is there? And 17 representatives, 17 teams represented? Well, you just want to see Clemson, South Carolina? Never been there before? Not much there. If it was Charleston, South Carolina, I could see it.
What else do we have to do?
Good slide.
He did say he was happy to see Urban Meyer, who was there, and Urban Meyer in the news. I want to talk about this now. Chris Doyle hired to Urban Meyer's staff at Jacksonville. Meyer said he vetted Doyle for months, has known him for 20 years. It was 8 months ago that Doyle was terminated from his job with Iowa under allegations of bullying and racial mistreatment. Bill Plaschke, how do you consider this?
Urban Meyer's just had his first locker room meeting with his team, and he's told them, his players, I don't care about what you feel. I don't care about your sensitivities. I don't care about what you've heard. I don't care about how your self-image. I don't care about you. I'm taking the guy. How's he going to walk in that locker room? How's Doyle going to make this work? This is insanity. This is insensitive, and I bet it gets overturned. I bet the owner steps in and nullifies this hire. I bet if he's smart, he'll do that for the sake of the locker room, for the sake of the players, for the sake of the community.
Kevin Blackstone?
Well, if the ownership doesn't do that, what they're doing is sanctioning white privilege, because that is exactly what Urban Meyer has exercised here, and that is what Chris Doyle has benefited from here. And what an affront, as you just alluded to, Bill, to the majority players on that team who are black guys who know this guy's history and who can read the stories about how he acted in his previous life. And then think about the black coaches on the team who have to sit in a meeting room with this guy. Come on. This is a hire that never should be made. And if I'm Roger Goodell, I'm on the phone and I'm calling them right now and saying, you guys need to make a change and you need to make it now.
Sarah Spain?
Yeah, I'd like to say I'm surprised to see someone failing up like this, but it's white privilege, it's sports, and to his point, I vetted him. I've known him for 20 years. I knew him from Utah. Okay, well, he started coaching at Utah 5 years after he left. Okay, I fully vetted him. I talked to lots of people. Did you talk to any of the dozens of players who accused him of racism, who said that he said things like, I'll send you back to the ghetto, I'll put you back on the streets, made fun of them, mocked them? What about any of the players that ended up in the hospital? 13 of them in the hospital in 2011 for one workout that was considered bullying and going too far. All of these things combine to have you asking, is he the only person available for the job? Why are we working so hard to hire someone who was recently let go because of the dozens of players who accused him of racism? Happy Black History Month. Happy we're changed. Happy the NFL cares about diversity. Absolutely not. This is a joke, and I can't believe it's the first move he's making as head coach.
I think it's bizarre. I think it's unfortunate, as my comrades have said. When you look at Urban's staff, he could be getting applauded today for the diversity of this staff that he has assembled. Instead, everybody's going to talk about one hire that he chose to make, and nobody was really going to even bring up the Zach Smith stuff in Jacksonville. It's like that's gone, and whatever that was, he's moving on from that. And now you wonder, is this guy always going to make these kind of calls where he thinks he knows better than everyone else because he knows a little bit about somebody, but he doesn't know enough?
Yep. Doesn't care.
Shameful. Shame on Urban Meyer.
Can I say this?
Shame on Jack.
Loyalty is a wonderful quality in all of us. And not giving up on people and giving second chances and not throwing people away. A wonderful quality people. That does not mean that people also pick up exactly where they were before. You can show support and be loyal to people in life without also doing this. You can support Doyle if he wanted to in many, many ways, not just in this profession that many, many other people should have an opportunity for. We're taking a break right here. Buy or sells on the other side.
Blind, insensitive loyalty. Blind, insensitive loyalty.
Make it 2 games with 10 three-pointers this season for Steph Curry. In his unanimous MVP season, he had 1 game of 10 three-pointers, so he's already above that, doubled that. There's a question of whether he's having the best season of his career, and there's a question of whether he's worthy of MVP this year. Tim Callis, you seem interested in this. Go ahead, please.
Well, he just had 57 the other night against the Mavericks.
Yes, you noticed that.
He's pretty good. We don't pay near enough attention to percentages. He's a career 43% shooter from 3, and there's never been anyone do that who shoots at his volume, and he's still doing it this year without Clay. If they make the playoffs, he's a definite candidate.
Sarah Spain.
They're plus 67 with him and minus 12 without him. It's not a very good team, and that's the thing that's going to hold him back. Even if he does play his best, even if he's deserving, in the end, the conversation is usually a player on a great team, and I don't think...
So you're not even allowing him in the MVP conversation?
No. He's in the conversation. He's deserving of the conversation. What I'm saying is I don't think it goes far enough.
So then you end the conversation after you have him in the conversation. I see what you're saying. Kevin Blackisnow, please.
Well, I think he's in the conversation in part, not just because of the great season that he's having, but also because of this team. They actually have a winning record. They're on the cusp of being a playoff team right now. I did not see that coming. So, sure, put him up there with KD and Jokic and Embiid and, of course, LeBron.
And Bill Plaschke.
He may be in the conversation on this show. He's not going to be in the conversation at the end of the season. He plays for a 500 team. It's LeBron's turn. He's the most entertaining player in the league. He's the most fun player in the league. But let's face it, LeBron's played every game. LeBron's more rebounds, more assists, better overall shooting percentage than Curry. LeBron's your MVP, and he's going to win it probably pretty easily.
Okay, Embiid's in the conversation for you too, Plaschke. Jokic is in the conversation.
Embiid and Jokic are both in there, but Curry's won't be there at the end. Nope.
We'll move on. Buy or
not
sell
good
to Trevor Bauer introducing himself to the Dodgers.
All the conversations that I've had with people across all walks of life over the past couple years and all the things that I've learned, I can say that I have learned from those. I'm doing my best to be better, as I do in all walks of my life. So I am committed to being being better on social media, being better on the field, being better in the clubhouse, being better in life in general.
So a pledge from Bauer there. Bill Plaschke, you were on the Zoom here, which now counts. Just clicking onto a website counts as reporting these days.
Love that too.
Buy or sell Bauer's pledge.
I'm selling it. It's sounded rehearsed. It sounded PR driven. I'm going to go with what Andrew Friedman, the Dodger president of baseball operations, said. He said, "Time will tell," which is a pretty, damning statement for a player who just signed, saying that the warning signs are out. The Dodgers are watching. The LA community is watching. We'll wait and see. I'm going to wait and see on what he said.
Tim Calishaw.
I'm going to buy the pledge, but I'm going to sell that he's going to execute it and be successful. If he wants to be successful, he can get off Twitter and Instagram and all other forms of social media and just work on his curveball. But I don't think he'll do that.
Spain.
I was on a Zoom today as well. I don't know if that makes any difference.
No, not exactly. No.
It was our
You know what's
Zoom.
interesting is when players get to a new team, that's the only time we ask them about certain things. And then the media feels like, well, we asked them once, and so now we can't keep asking them about this thing that we should consistently check in on. And with this one, they can, because it's going to be a consistent check-in on his behavior on social media and around his teammates. So I hope they actually hold him to this claim. Otherwise, I'm selling it all, including the media, who choose only these to ask.
KB.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding. Let's see how he behaves. Is he willing to go to some sort of counseling or some sort of sensitivity class to better himself? Will he just stay off of social media, as Tim suggested, which may be a good thing? But obviously the Dodgers think he's going to turn the corner because that's why they signed him.
All right, Bill Plaschke, 22 points. Oh, man, you were on that Zoom meeting.
Zoomed up to the top.
Wait a second. Oh, I almost forgot. Super Bowl picks. Well, let's take a look. Calishaw, Spain, and Blackistone have voted. Oh, Plaschke, look at the score you had, Bill. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that is
You're
so
going to
wrong.
lose 31 points.
So wrong.
Because that's how many Tampa scored the game. And now this killed. Look at Plaschke. Oh, that's an unfortunate turn of events. KB, you already got your bonus early in the week, KB. Look at this. How about that? Calishaw, Spain, they didn't think they were advancing. It's showdown in 2 minutes.
What everybody wants.
On this penalty kick by Aroni for Palmeiras, it's just an enormous super galactic fail. Tim Calishaw, Sarah Spain, welcome to Showdown. Was the fail in strategy or execution, Timmy?
Terrible strategy. In hockey in a shootout, a player slams on the brakes and the goalie moves one way or another. This guy stops so early. The goalie just stands there like, what are you doing?
This is terrible execution. We all know the old whoops-a-doodle strategy can work sometimes, but he sounded like Tim trying to approach a question. Maybe this way.
Oh, he also brought up hockey, and within a second of a soccer question, which is not going to... Point, Sarah Spain. We'll move on. Showdown 2, Steph Curry is not the MVP. The furthest thing from a valuable player, according to this panel, but better underhanded shot. Curry last night or Nick Kyrgios, who served it underarm to win the second set of his Aussie Open match last night. Sarah?
I'm used to that with Curry. Kyrgios won a set with that BS that my dad pulls when we're playing tennis. The onions on that guy. It's annoying, but amazing.
Not BS when it works. You got to go with Kyrgios. Heaven forbid I brought up tennis alongside hockey because he actually achieved something. Curry's great. He can throw it in from anywhere, but it didn't matter.
Curious Aleson. Point game. Sarah Spain, have mercy.
Speaking of tennis, some of the best sights we've seen at the Australian Open have just been people in the crowd and the hope that one day we'll get back to that too. But the second best has been Serena Williams and her daughter, and she had a great line after win the other day. She kind of freaked out her husband and said, I can't wait to play doubles with her one day, and then said, well, she already has an Australian Open title because she was in my belly when I won in 2017. I love it, and I just love watching them together.
All right, Sarah Spain, today's champion. That's going to do it, folks. Thanks for coming around. We're on a 71.5-hour break. You know what, Plashke? Your pick was so bad, you're still losing.